Hello, my friend, and welcome to this episode of A Call to Leadership. I'm Dr. Nate Saul, your host. So glad you are here. I have a question for you today. Does mercy belong in business? In a world that prizes profit, speed, competition, mercy can sound like, well, weakness. But when mercy is actually the hidden strength that sets leaders apart, it can transform how we treat our teams, our clients, even our competition. Well, today I'm joined by my brothers in arms, Travis, Revelle, Joe Thompson. Listen, we're just guys. We're not perfect. We're unpacking the scriptures and applying them to our journey in business. These entrepreneurs and leaders have wrestled with what it looks like to bring these Beatitudes to you in our next installment here on Mercy. This conversation is more than just theory. It's about how it can shape our culture, restore our relationships, and redefine our success. It doesn't just belong in church, friend. It belongs in the marketplace. Hello, fellas.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, Dr. Nate. How are you?
I'm good.
Travis, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you guys.
It's good to see you. This is our second episode in the new studio setup, and we would encourage people, check it out on YouTube, because now we've got a couple extra cameras and they pan out to see the studio so that you can be a little more self-conscious about what you're wearing.
And what could be better than seeing more of us?
Listening to more of us.
Right. There you go. Hey, we've been having fun in this series of Blessed Are. And if you haven't listened to the first 4 installments, can't believe we've already had 4 of them, we've been uncovering this journey as leaders, as business leaders and life leaders, where Jesus says, I want you to live in the kind of joy that is free from earthly cares. And at first you might scoff at that. You might say, seriously? I mean, who could be free from earthly cares? This Macarius life in the Greek. And what he says is, if you follow these prescriptions, not just descriptions, prescriptions, normative in the academic world, what do you mean by do this? It's going to help you to galvanize your spirit as I pour out my love and grace so that when circumstances happen, you're not taken off. And leadership, we've been led and we've been leaders. That's who you want to follow. That's who I want to follow. I want to follow somebody who's not going to be like, hey, oh, wow, this is too hard. I'm done. Or this is something that I didn't expect all these things to happen. See you later, right? Jesus says we're going to ground your leadership in such a way that it is unbreakable. I'm down. So we've gone through the first 4. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are the meek. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. And that was the halfway mark. We are number 5 today, which is equally challenging, especially in business and in life. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. First thing that comes to mind to me, the 90s, I know. Karate Kid, Ralph Macchio.
Was that the 90s or was that the 80s?
It could have been the 80s too. I don't remember. It kind of gets blurry. Nonetheless, if you remember the end of the first movie, which was really the only good one, but the end of the first one, Mr. Miyagi, right, is at the end, and he's confronted the sort of the mean, evil, narcissistic other guy, right, other martial arts guy.
Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai.
And the guy's on his knees. Mr. Miyagi's got his hand out because his philosophy, the Cobra Kai guy, was that what? Mercy is for the weak.
Yeah.
For the weak.
Mercy is for the weak. And so, you see Ralph Macchio's face, the Karate Kid, and he's like, oh my goodness, is he going to kill this guy? He's got his arm up, and Mr. Miyagi goes in for the shot, and what does he do? Squeezes the guy's nose. and winks. Yeah, it's mercy. And in that moment, I was like, wow, mercy isn't for the weak. Mercy's for the strong. Because it takes strength.
Mr. Miyagi's actually a good character for mercy, because now as I think through the ones that I've seen, he always has a moment. Like the guy that wanted to fight him to the death, and then, a big board falls on him and he drops the board in half to help him out.
Yeah.
A very merciful character.
You think about it. Yeah. It's a theme that runs through.
I normally hate your 80s, 90s analogies, but that one's okay.
Acceptable.
Martial arts guy here.
Acceptable.
Martial arts guy here. One of these episodes will have to.
Travis is like, who's the Karate Kid?
Is that a comic book character from
Mr.
Middle
Miyagi?
Ages?
I like
Is that a restaurant?
Yeah. Why does that attract us to that character?
Because it's the ultimate control of power, right? Not a weakness, because you know how strong he is, right?
Hey, you kill a dude.
He could kill a dude. Yet he doesn't have to do that in order to make a point about something.
And it goes into, because we talked about blessed are the meek, which was power under God's control. Mercy takes that a step further. In fact, so much of this does, right? It actually combines the mourning, right? The second beatitude, because mourning is really sharing in that struggle. Mercy takes it a step further into compassion in action, like your example of breaking the board to save the guy, right? You could say, man, I really do feel bad that you're dying. And I could feel bad. That's a mourning for you. Now I'm going to go eat lunch. I'll be back. If you're still alive, I'll help you, right?
Yeah.
That's not mercy.
Right.
Mercy is actually taking the action. How about you? How does that play out if you remember that, like, wow, this is a dude that's.
I think in a lot of ways, right? Like, he was a fatherly figure, right? Like, I mean, if you think about, like, traditionally, like the fatherly figures from the 50s, 60s, right? Like, they didn't necessarily, like, a Leave It to Beaver, right? Like, they didn't show power by exerting it, right? It was just understood that they had it. They commanded respect. And I think fast forward to today, right? Being a parent of 8-year-olds, and seeing other kids of that age, that is not how parents are anymore. Right? Like, I feel like there was a flip somewhere where kids run parents now. Right? There isn't.
We ask kids for mercy.
Yeah. Like, I think I feel like I need to have this conversation with my kids and be like, can you show me some mercy, please? Can you be merciful? But I think I think when you have somebody like that, when you have a figure like that, it makes you feel safe.
Yeah.
Right? Because you know that they have the power to do things. You see that they have the maturity and the emotional intelligence to control it. And I think that brings you a great sense of safety, that everything's going to be okay. And as a leader in an organization, especially, if you're have a large organization, that's what you want to exude. That no matter what, it's going to be okay. We're going to figure it out. And that calmness, right? But knowing that this person has the power to do things, but they're choosing to be calm about it is transcends onto the entire organization.
First of all, we have to earmark an episode where we just break down the Karate Kid, because there's so much in there. Second of all, when Mr. Miyagi takes Daniel to the, what Travis said made me think of it, he takes him to the school to say, hey, no more fighting until the tournament. He takes Daniel's son and pushes him behind him. He puts him in a safe place. So he puts himself between him and the enemy, right? And that is another type of mercy, right?
That's good.
Have mercy on someone that you want to protect.
And so we're gonna do a whole episode and just break down Karate Kid. You could just keep going.
I could go on forever.
How many beatitudes can we get from the Karate Kid? Can we get Ralph Macchio on the show?
You started it.
We might.
You started it. Ralph's like 25 now.
He looks like he's 25. He has not aged a single day since 1987.
Here's the thing about mercy, especially in this context. Unlike so many things that you can figure out on your own, this kind of mercy is something we first receive. And Mr. Miyagi, since we're on the roll, at some point in his life, someone had to show him mercy. Someone in his life, someone had to model that for him. At some point, it had to be caught. And this is in Jesus, what Jesus is saying here. He's like, God has extended his mercy, his compassion through his word, through his people. And when you receive that, you now have the power to turn around and give it away. And so for us as leaders, one of the things that's so important for us is, are we willing recipients of the compassion? Here's not, and you say, okay, it starts with compassion of God's mercy and love and grace. Okay, right? Done. Check. Thank you. And daily. However, it's also through other people. And sometimes it's a little tough to receive compassion from others. You think about that. Why is that difficult for us? I know the wheels are turning. The wheels are turning. You're like, oh, wow, I have to actually show vulnerability to receive it.
Yeah, it almost, the way, I feel like the way, and I don't know if it's society or if it's just human nature, right? Like, I think that when you're accepting compassion from somebody else, it's almost, you feel weak. You feel weak. And our brains are still set up, right? Like that we're being chased by saber-toothed tigers. You know what I mean? And so that I can't be weak, especially as men, right? Like I think women are much more evolved, right? Like they can receive compassion from each other.
They're more emotionally mature.
Absolutely. I mean, they're just a better species all the way, right? Right. But showing weakness has traditionally been not something that men strive to do. Unfortunately.
Right. Unfortunately.
Look at business, since we discussed that a lot. I'll leave Mr. Miyagi out of this. You would be considered a weak CEO or leader if you had your competition like on the edge of going under, and you
didn't push them under.
Yeah. If you show them mercy, everyone would look at you like, this is the weakest CEO we've ever
Your
had.
stock price would get hammered.
It's crazy, right?
It's crazy.
So it's not only ingrained in us, but it's still a societal thing that mercy is weakness, right?
And yet, going back to when Apple was 90 days from insolvency.
And Bill Gates stroked the check.
Right.
Yeah.
And Steve Jobs went to him, old friends / rivals over all these years. Irony is, on the backside, there was a lawsuit that Apple had been pursuing Microsoft for years on intellectual property, and Steve's like, "Hey, I can make that go away. We need some compassion in the form of $100 million."
So that was his vulnerability. And then Bill had the opportunity to show mercy.
Yeah. So it was reciprocal in a way, right? Reciprocal compassion, mercy. It's not something you see every day in a business world.
Now, do you think Tim Cook would do that today for Microsoft?
Tough to say, brother. Tough to say. But at the same time, Steve realized I've got to have vulnerability here. I've got to show weakness. And the weakness, it truly was, hey, I'm coming back in. We're almost done. And we need help. That in and of itself was like, there's something about that is just so attractive in terms of leadership, but we're also repelled by it. We want to hide it. Like because most business owners or most leaders or most CEOs may say, hey, we got to keep this stuff under wraps. Yeah. Like we got to get our money quietly. We don't want to tell the world that in just a few months we're out of business. It's the antithesis of how we've been taught.
But I think it also comes in. So I have this conversation with younger leaders, right? Because I feel like, I don't know when it happened, right? But I'm 45, right? So I'm not the young leader anymore that I once was. Now I'm the older guy, in the group. But I feel like there is a level of loyalty that you get from people that are reporting to you if you can be vulnerable. And I do this with my direct reports, right? Like I will just say stuff like, hey, here's the situation. Here's my thoughts on it. Here's what I think. I may be wrong. I may be right. Please give me your input, right? I'm going to go first and tell you how I think we can solve this problem. But if you have a better idea or you think there's something that will work better because you guys do this every single day, right? I'm just overseeing your work. You know what I mean? Like if you can do it better. And that I have found over the years creates an immense sense of loyalty from your reports to you, right? Because they know that there's open lines of communication. They know that they can have their input. They feel good because they can give you their input. But two, they know like that you're a human being, right? Like we all, when we lay down at night, right, we have weaknesses, right? We all know internally what our weaknesses are. And I think, right, like the person who shows their weaknesses first is actually the stronger person. Yeah. Because we all have them.
Boy, this is one that I've really swam upriver with my whole career. And especially, in the consultant field, like sometimes it's just really hard to show mercy and get everybody moving too. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And, sometimes I'm hired for that, like to not show mercy.
Right, that's your job. Right, yeah.
Like I need you to come in, turn this on, get these guys going. So it's, there's a huge struggle there for me in balancing that, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know if you can. Right? I mean, because you're not there to grow or you're there to perform a task, right? You're task oriented,
Mercy doesn't pay the bills.
But I think there's ways, like even if you have to deliver tough messages, right? You have choices, right? So if there's been times in my career where I've had to come in and lay off large groups of people at one time.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Right. And it is, as my wife will tell you, like it bothers, right? Right. Like I'm a human being, like it bothers me. Like I start thinking about, their families and what are they going to do and blah, blah, blah. But there's a way to do it mercifully, right? And there's a way to just come in and just kind of be a jerk, And I think if you choose, right, to have those tough messages, but show mercy, even if it's not something somebody's going to enjoy hearing, right? The way you deliver it can impact that person immensely. And I think about the movie, I think it's Air Up There or something with George Clooney, where he went in and he had to terminate people all the time. And he would have those conversations about when was it that you decided to give up on your dream, right? Like your childhood dream. And he would terminate people, right? But he would get them, they would walk out kind of excited about their future. And then the whole premise of the movie was there was a younger girl who had more of a automated system that she was trying to come in from an efficiency standpoint. And it was terrible because there was no warmth or tact to how this system was performing, right? And people were freaking out when they were getting laid off. And so I think that there's a way to show mercy in even having really tough conversations with people.
Yeah. Thank you so much for supporting this program. I'd like to pray for you for just a moment that God realigns the heart away from pressure, pride, performance, back to his presence. Let us grow in God's wisdom. Let us give from our overflow, and let us go love radically in every place God sends us. Make us holy, Lord. Set us apart, not just successful, but surrendered. In Jesus' name, amen. And it sets us apart. It's part of the Be Holy journey, right? The Be Holy challenge that we've all accepted is this setting apart for a divine purpose to walk in godly integrity, godly mercy, godly wisdom, and godly witness through those challenges. And so that compassion piece, because as leaders, especially in business, since we're on this tract, if you will, there's times where I've heard it said you have to free someone's future. And this is kind of along the same lines. Like, I don't want to just tell you, I feel bad that you're going to have a change and transition that may have some stress. I do want to say that it's part of my compassion for you to release you from something that is not going to provide a long-term sustainable benefit for you from an employment perspective. I want to show that I care enough not to just string you along and to something that is bondage and not liberating for the best and highest use of your genius. Now, that might sound like a canned, oh, thanks a lot. Did you just read that off a script? However, if it's truly from the heart and you meet someone where they are and they know that my goal isn't just the metric, my goal is the mercy, and you live authentically in that, it's up to them whether or not they accept that as truth.
Right. You can't force somebody to accept your mercy. You can just show it.
Yeah.
You can give it, but again, they have to receive it.
When Jesus was on that cross and he said, Father, forgive them for they know not what they do, some people standing there were cut to the heart like, oh my goodness, this guy is praying for me, and I'm one of the ones who said, release Barabbas, condemn him, while others were like, whatever.
Right. It's not on Jesus.
The huge part of it is forgiveness. I don't even know if we've said that until you said forgive them. You really have to exercise, especially in your Be Holy journey, forgiveness almost minute by minute. The guy cuts you off in traffic. Someone does something stupid at work, it costs you money. You got to constantly be in a state ready to forgive if you're going to show mercy. Right?
But I think people get it convoluted that forgiveness is not necessarily for that other person. Mm-hmm. It's for you, so that you're not carrying this stress and anger with you.
Yeah.
Just let it go. If that other person continues to do what they're doing, again, that's on them, right? We can only control what is happening inside our bodies, our minds, right? Like, my body, my choice, right? So my choice is to forgive, because it is a freeing feeling for me. I feel better when I forgive somebody.
It's another level. It's truly another level when you think about, how do I respond to perhaps someone missing a mark or failing or wronging me? Do I respond with the retaliation that mercy is for the weak, as the Cobra Kai model? Or do I say, God, you have poured out your limitless compassion on me. And if someone cuts me off on the road, or if someone creates an injustice, or if someone misses something at my place of business, or my spouse says something perhaps out of anger and it was unfounded, what is my response? My response is compassion. Why compassion? Perhaps in that moment, they have not fully recognized or received the mercy and the love and the grace that you've freely poured out on them. So in this moment, I have compassion for you in the same way that when Jesus looked at those crowds and he saw them, and what does the scripture says? That he had compassion on them because they were helpless and harassed. And what does he then say? He asked us to share in his compassion. The harvest is plenty, but the workers are few. That's the heart of being compassionate. That's the heart of this mercy that changes the entire vantage point of our leadership model and raises and elevates us far beyond the mediocrity of what we are told to do into the highest standard of what God has in store for us as leaders.
You know, I have trouble. I struggle with feeling forgiveness. Like if I've wronged somebody, you know, like I'll beat myself up over it. Even after they're like, hey, it's okay, you know, we're cool. I still don't feel it. Because there's, you know, I guess maybe it's my lack of being vulnerable during it, or believing that, you know, someone really means it. Like, because it's forgive and forget, right? But people will forgive you of something, and then next time you're in an argument, they'll bring it up from like 5 years ago. It's like, you didn't really let that go. So, you know, are you still kind of holding it against me? And you hear people say a lot, oh, I forgive them, but I'll never forget it. The forgetting it is the bigger part of the forgiveness.
Absolutely.
Like as if it didn't happen is the true forgiving. But saying, oh, hey, I forgive you. I don't want you to have, you know, this bad thing you're carrying around, but I'm going to put it in my pocket here, and then I'll throw it up later.
Yeah.
Like when we're in an argument, and I'll say, well, remember when you did this to me? Do you feel no forgiveness then?
Right.
And I always feel people still carry, you know, however you've wronged them, in whatever way you've wronged them. I think people still carry it with them. And that's why I never feel like forgiveness is genuine from people.
But on the same token, if you've apologized for something and you've told the person, right? Like, you can't control them, right? Like, so you're carrying around this extra guilt that could be real, could not be real, right? You have no way of knowing if it's real or not. So I think that is a scenario in which you need to forgive yourself. You need to have some mercy on yourself. And I think that might be the hardest person to have mercy on is ourselves.
I agree.
Right?
That's a good point.
But if God can have mercy on you, he's a smart guy. Right? Like if he can,
yeah, but I trust his forgiveness.
Okay. Well, you should trust your forgiveness.
Yeah, I just don't trust other people's. Because I don't think people are merciful. I don't think they go about their life mercifully. I think mercy is something people have to really reach hard for. And I mean, I may just be cynical in me saying that, but like, look around you. Like, you could be in the grocery store and see 20 cases where no one's being merciful to the other person, right? So you start to think, wow, you know, people don't really have forgiveness because he banged into her cart, you know, and she giving him the business over it. It's just kind of, I think I've always just kind of held that as my own personal truth, that people rarely forgive and forget. They'll say they forgive because forgiveness makes them feel better, right? But forgetting it doesn't make them feel better, because like this is a way they can hold on to something and protect themselves in the future from it, right?
Well, and that's part of letting go allows you to receive. So as long as you're holding on to that, whatever it is, bitterness, lack of full forgiveness, you're not ready to receive. And you're going to live in that. You're going to live in that lack of freedom, of liberation, until you let it go. Because once you've let it, and this is where Jesus says, forgive and you will be forgiven. And when I first read that years ago in the Gospels, I was like, oof, that's kind of, but as I thought it through, I'm like, oh yeah, duh. I can't receive until I've released. I had to let go of what I'm carrying so that I can receive God's mercy and grace and love. And once I've done that, then I have it to give away. Mm-hmm. And that's I think the game changer in terms of understanding, because people also, I think, hold on. They're afraid in some ways. Okay, well, if I show compassion, if I show mercy, what happens when I'm taken advantage of? And so they see it, again, as we had uncovered earlier, as weakness. The thing about mercy, it doesn't mean that we're compromising our values, our boundaries, excellence in an organizational environment, at home, with our families. It just it changes the temperature of how we lead. We tell the truth, we do it with grace. We restore rather than replace. When we look at our teams, we correct them with dignity. It changes the tone. It changes the temperature. It changes how we approach understanding where people are in that moment. Doesn't change consequences. Mm-hmm. Doesn't change outcomes. Yeah. Doesn't change any of those things that just naturally happen, right, with decisions. Mm-hmm. However, it changes what's inside of us and how we approach all situations. First, the first thing to always remember, God, you have poured out your mercy upon me. Who am I to withhold it from anyone else?
It's the right path. I'm just saying, as a regular human around the planet, I certainly don't want to come off that like I have all this under control.
None of us do, bro.
I'm on guard all the time. Like from the way you grow up to the way you go through school and get in business and everything. If you're met with a lot of adversarial people, you have a tendency to have an on guard feeling, right? Mm-hmm. And that plays out in your personal life as well. And sure, it's something to focus on, but I think this one especially is a difficult beatitude to both give and receive it. For me personally, I'm just saying,
it's not easy.
Maybe other people are fine with it.
None of these are. Yeah. It's like, and every one, I think, hits each of us differently.
I agree. And I think that the thing for the listeners to understand is that, one, we don't claim to have this all together.
We're all learning, we're growing.
All going through this together. And two, it's a journey. Like, there are some days that I'm more merciful than other days. You know what I mean? There's some days that I have more macarious than other days. You know what I mean? Like, there are some days that I'm holier than other days. You know what I mean? Like, I'm human, right? Like, so I don't think that obviously we want to be as close to Christ as possible, but we're not going to be Christ. You know what I mean? So there's just fallacies in humanity that happen. And I think that if we are the light that is trying to show this, right? Like, I say this to people all the time, right? Like, when you come in my organization, like, I want you to be a better person when you leave, whether you're here for a day, a week, a month, a year, a decade, whatever it is. I think that's the same way going into life. Like, you interact with people, show them mercy so that they can feel it. They may not ever forget, Joe, what you said to them, right? Or what you did to them in the 3rd grade.
Most likely they will.
You know, they might not. But that's not your cross to bear.
Right.
Right? That's not on you to carry with you, right? All you can do is
So
apologize and do better.
All things forgivable? Is there a time where we should show mercy every time, right?
Correct.
Like, that's the teaching Jesus gives. We should do. So, like, you're walking down the street and some guy walks up and kicks it down one of your 8-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
Do you just absolve him, Travis?
No, because I'm human.
Pick her up,
Right.
and just
No,
brush her off
No.
and walk away?
no, I'm not. But I'm not going to kill that human being. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't mean but think about the people who've lost people to murderers.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And they do find forgiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah, you talk about
Right.
all over. Holocaust survivors have forgiven their
Look, I think a lot of it takes time. You know what I mean? Like, in the heat of the moment, I believe that our brains go to just a fight or flight, right? There are certain things that maybe after years and years and years and years of practicing this, you can get to a point of enlightenment or whatever you want to call it, right? But no, if we're walking on the street today and we have this conversation and somebody kicks my kid, you know what I mean? Like, and that's not another child, you know, like, probably not going to be holy in that. I'm going to try. But I'm going to feel bad. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to ask.
Like you said, it takes practice.
It takes practice.
It takes constantly reminding yourself. And it's been a real pain in my life ever since I started it.
Right. Well, it's also, it's like
you have the challenge.
The Be Holy challenge.
It's once you're exposed to it, and you, right, like, there's a little bit of freedom in ignorance, right? Like,
yes,
there's freedom in
lots
ignorance.
of it.
There's a weight that comes with knowledge, you know?
Yeah.
But that's
especially this kind.
But that's the choice, right? You're choosing to do that because you know that the payoff, although is hard now, the payoff later on is great.
You know, I was telling Nate the other day, since the Be Holy challenge, I don't think ever in my lifetime have I thought or considered like what Jesus would do as much as I do now. You know what I mean?
1,000%.
Like, I almost have to stop myself and be like, okay, the Be Holy challenge. You know, like,
but that's
don't react, just reflect on it.
That's the practice, and you're
breathe it through. So I do think, like, if you're a Christian and you really want to get closer to Christ and you do the whole Be Holy thing, you will think about Jesus more now than you ever have in your life.
I agree.
No matter what kind of program you've been through, this will constantly make you weigh yourself against, like, his amount of forgiveness, his amount of mercy, his amount of his ability to love radically, right? You'll think about it constantly. Like I do. I think about it constantly. Like, it's not something I can just forget, because once you start it and you're oriented towards it, leaving it now feels like I'm really giving up on something that's bigger than anything I've done before.
Well, I think that's why, right? Like, you need to be in groups, right? You need to be around like-minded individuals.
Community makes all the difference.
You need to be in the community, right? Like, you need to be in these things because it is hard, right? It's an impossible task to achieve, right? But yet we're still trying our best to achieve it, knowing that we will never, ever get to the point to where we can turn around and be like, I'm holy. Like, I'm here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
the shirt always will say, be holy, not
it's always
I'm
just,
holy.
Right. So you need to be around like-minded people who are supporting you, who are holding you accountable, right? To having these types of conversations about, hey, I'm really struggling with showing mercy. Like, how do I do this? Like, how do I that sounds fantastic, but how do I actually apply that to my life, and what does that look like, and how do I do that? I think with all the Beatitudes, it is a perfect plan of living your life, but how do you actually do it?
Right.
Day in and day out, right?
Yes.
Like that's what the groups are for. That's what the community is for. That is to give you applicable skills to be able to do that and to be able to handle that. And if you come across something that you cannot, you lean on your brothers and your sisters, right, to give you support.
Well, I love that. I love that you shared that, because as you shared, I think about all the folks in our G3 community who have, they'll have a moment and they'll put in the chat, like, it's tough to be holy today, or I need prayer for mercy. As we've gone through these Beatitudes in our community.
So encouraging.
Right.
It's good to know.
When I see others
You're
struggle.
not on an island.
It's like when the apostles screw up. I feel so much better.
And I don't know how I would do without that support, without the group team. I know that there are moments in my own walk where I see someone else struggling, and it helps me to not only have compassion, but to also be reminded that, Nate, you can share some of this stuff that you go through as well. Just because you provide the teaching and you lead this kind of stuff doesn't mean everybody knows that you're not impervious too. And it gives me permission. It gives me permission to be vulnerable, to receive the mercy and the compassion of my brothers and sisters. It's elixir.
Yeah.
It's like heavenly medicine for the soul.
We're just, the thing is humans we're not meant to, be alone in life. Like we're not made to be alone, right? We're made to share these burdens and these struggles. We're not supposed to shoulder them by ourselves. We're supposed to have a community, a village, however you want to look at it, right? Like we're supposed to have people to help us through the tough times. And then in the same regard, we're supposed to help other people through their tough times. Right. And that's what life is supposed to be about. So I think that's why, the listeners who are listening and they're like, hey, this sounds fantastic. I would love to live all of these Beatitudes, but how? Where do I start? How do I even begin to do this Be Holy journey? And I said, that's what the community is here for. That's what we're here for. All of our brothers and sisters to help you, along that path.
Absolutely. And we've got all kinds of ways people can find us. And the show notes have the website. It really is just easy, g3tribe.com.
Yeah.
g3tribe.com. Super easy. And it's a game changer.
It's a safe place.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before, needing a safe place. You need a safe place to practice these things, right? And when we do it amongst ourselves, we get better at doing it outside of the community, like where it matters in real life. You know what I mean? And it's just encouraging to have a safe place to go to and just be honest. Like the way I'm honest today with my struggle with the whole mercy thing, it's just nice to lean on people that understand that you're going through that.
We'll have an episode all about what to expect in the community. G3 stands for grow, give, go. Grow purposefully, because Jesus says that I've come that you should have life and have it what? To the full, right? So full of purpose. You take that growth and then you give generously of the time, talent, and treasures we're entrusted with. And the third piece, go. Love radically. That's the clincher. Because wherever you go, you are a representation of the love that's been poured out to you. And it is radical love. Radical just simply means a fundamental altering of the understanding of something. Jesus flips the understanding of what it means to love for all of us to say, oh, wow, hello. And we're going to go through this as we get to the rest of the next series. You have heard it said, right? That Jesus will open up with that. I love that. Like, you've heard it said this, but, right?
However.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh boy, here we go. What are you going to tell me I need to do? And the kind of stuff that he says, it is radical. It's like, it's a radical fundamental change. Like, no, that doesn't sound right at all. He's like, trust me.
kind of know what I'm talking
Yeah, I kind of have this. Okay,
I have a big deal.
I'm kind of mercy.
about. I know a guy, right?
I have a
Mercy.
guy.
I got a guy.
Mercy is not for the weak. It's for the strong.
For the strong.
Good show, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good seagulls.
Thank you so much for supporting this program. I'd like to pray for you for just a moment that God realigns the heart away from pressure, pride, performance, back to his presence. Let us grow in God's wisdom. Let us give from our overflow, and let us go love radically in every place God sends us. Make us holy, Lord. Set us apart, not just successful, but surrendered. In Jesus' name, amen.